This is my life we're talking about.
If it could happen to Raymond McCann, it could happen to you.
So they're going to stick, what, me in jail for something I had no part of?
They're looking to crucify somebody.
A sickening child killing, a troubled investigation, and new tonight, a high-profile twist. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Sterling.
And I'm Marley Ginter. Thank you for joining us for this special edition of 24 Hour News 8 at 7. Police in Constantine spent years making a monster of one of their own, Reserve Officer Raymond McCann, the prime suspect in the killing of Jodi Perrick, a man still trying to restore his name even after the real killer confessed.
This has become West Michigan's own version of making a murderer. So much so, in fact, an attorney from that original Netflix series reached out to Target 8 after watching our report, Making a Monster, last week.
And tonight, we're taking another look at that special and how it prompted a high-profile attorney to pick up the fight for Ray McCann.
Here's Ken Kolker.
This is a case where police officer tunnel vision essentially consumed and spit out one of their own. This is not somebody who has a long criminal history, who has a history of lying to the police or deceiving to the police. This is somebody who worked with the police.
Stephen Drizzen is a clinical professor of law at Northwestern Law School in Chicago, where he ran the Center on Wrongful Convictions. But he's known best as the attorney fighting to overturn the murder conviction of Brendan Dassey, the nephew of Stephen Avery, the main character in Making a Murderer. Both are serving life for the 2005 murder of 25-year-old photographer Teresa Hallbach.
I'm innocent.
Now, he is trying to overturn Ray McCann's conviction based on hours of video recorded interrogations obtained by Target 8.
That raised the question, who told the biggest lies?
After watching your story, the story resonated with me, and I wanted to reach out and see if I could help.
Drizzen says he has spoken with McCann by phone and plans to meet with him soon, working with the Michigan Innocence Clinic at the University of Michigan Law School.
My hope here is after a few weeks, maybe a little bit longer of really digging into this case, that myself, my colleagues at the Michigan Innocence Clinic will meet with members of the Michigan State Police and enlist their help to right this wrong. I have enormous respect for the Michigan State Police.
It was the Michigan State Police that took over the 2007 murder case and whose detectives repeatedly interrogated McCann.
What is it about the interrogations that concerned you?
Everything.
We have the full investigation. I told you, we just don't know the why, the little part in there, okay? We know we have a dead girl. We know that Ray's involved, okay? We've told you that.
They're locked in on Mr. McCann as the prime suspect in this murder, and they are ignoring numerous red flags that should have said to them, screamed at them actually, this is an innocent person.
But I didn't, guys. I didn't find her, I didn't put her there, didn't kill her.
You've got 86 denials. You've got emphatic denials.
He is struck by the lies told by investigators, lies exposed by the Target 8 investigation.
We know scientifically that you touched her body.
In the U.S., police are allowed to lie during interrogations.
But if they're inducing inconsistencies and building a perjury case based on lies that they themselves tell, that's a very weak perjury case, and perhaps a perjury case that never should have been filed.
All right, please.
What also troubles him, he says, is what happened after Daniel Furlong confessed last year to killing Jodi Perrick. Furlong said that he worked alone and didn't know McCann. The police chief's visit with McCann in prison, suggesting he's still involved, in interviews later with that chief and a former chief.
There's nothing to apologize for. Seriously, he's not in prison for her murder.
Okay.
There's no reason to apologize to him. And you can, I'd be very happy you put that on the news.
What we have here is a fundamental lack of humility in the criminal justice system by those who are responsible for what I believe to be a wrongful conviction, certainly a wrongful arrest, but either way, they destroyed a man's reputation and standing in the community. They should apologize for that. They should say, we made a mistake here, and they should clear him of any suspicion in connection with this crime.
Why should anybody care about what happened to Ray McCann? Why should Joe Sixpack care about this?
Because if it could happen to Raymond McCann, it could happen to you.
In a few minutes, you'll get a chance to talk live with that attorney, thanks to a live web chat we're hosting at woodtv.com. That's at 7:30.
After the break, another look at the interrogation tapes that show how lies led to lies and help send the wrong man to prison. Back to our story. A key player in the Making a Murderer series has taken up the fight to overturn the conviction of the man wrongly targeted in the 2007 murder of Jodi Perrick.
He says the interrogation tapes uncovered by Target 8 show how detectives made a monster of an innocent man.
I was a hostage. I wasn't a prisoner. I was a hostage.
The videotaped interrogations document only part of the 20 or so times detectives interviewed Ray McCann over the years. They show how police turned their focus on the married father and Little League coach who worked as a reserve police officer in the town where Jodi was killed, who said he was out trying to find her. Police felt his stories weren't adding up, though McCann, who had never been in trouble before, repeatedly told them he was struggling to recall details of a day he would rather forget.
All the hard work they were doing, it seemed like it was setting me up, not trying to find out who really committed this crime.
Constantine Police Chief James Bedell had come out of retirement for one reason: to solve this case.
Today is November 5th. Another 3 days. Monday is going to be 3 years.
Yeah.
3 years since Jodi's mom found her body in the Constantine Township Cemetery. The fifth grader had been sexually assaulted and strangled, her body dumped.
Oh, and I know you've been talked to several times, and this shouldn't take too long because you're going to tell me the truth. You got nothing to hide, correct?
Correct.
It's the same story McCann had told from the start. He had been home all day that day, November 8th, 2007.
This game has officially begun.
Played a video game all afternoon until his boys got home from school.
Went to the store, dollar store, came back.
What time did you go to the dollar store?
Kids get out of school. I think I left at 3, I believe. I went straight up there. Bought 2 little laser guns.
His wife, he says, got home a little before 5, made dinner. He helped his son with homework. They ate around 6.
Tell me what, from 6 o'clock on, what went on?
6 o'clock on. I know I was watching TV. I was watching the news. I don't know what all we did.
His kids, he says, were getting ready for bed.
That's when the mother came over, somewhere around 8.
Your mother came over?
No, Joe, the mother.
Jodi's mother?
Yeah.
Jodi was missing. McCann described his search for Jodi, the DNS store, around buildings, the baseball fields, to a home where his own mom and sister lived, where he says he found a bike that turned out not to be Jodi's. He says he checked by the boardwalk, down by the river.
So I walked down there, flashlight, checking behind the buildings.
It was McCann who suggested Jodi's family check the cemetery. He also suggested the same to Constantine Police Officer Marcus Donker.
When we were driving around, I go, kind of like, we didn't know the night was going to end up that way, but kind of joking around because it was just after Halloween. I go, let's go check the cemetery.
You wanted to check the cemetery, why didn't you go check it?
Because I needed to check, I wanted to check in with Donker. I don't know.
His insistence on searching the cemetery, then not checking it right away, is what made police suspect McCann right from the beginning. Police say holes in his stories didn't help.
So in these interviews, you have to ask some personal questions. I'm told that you would have an affair at the drop of a hat if a woman was interested.
I flirt with women. I mean,
I'd rather see you
yeah.
have interest in women than guys. What about young girls like Jodi?
No.
No?
He acknowledges talking to a woman he didn't know on his walkie-talkie, maybe the day before Jodi went missing, maybe not, and how maybe he went looking for that woman. The chief is bothered by the results of McCann's polygraph tests.
And whether you did it or not, I really have a feeling you know more than what you're telling us. If you're protecting somebody, that's
Oh,
silly.
God. You know what? I wouldn't protect my whole family. I would not do it.
The interview turns again to the cemetery where Jodi's body was found.
And if I told you somebody seen you driving out of there before that body was found, then that's BS.
Yeah. I never went in there. The only time we were near there was, I think, when me and Doc was up near the gas station.
The reason that we question you is 2 polygraphs, your idea to go look at the cemetery, and
Yeah, I know. But to me,
you're driving around the day before with
so-
walkie-talkies trying to pick up some chick, and it's just weird.
no.
You're a little weird.
I guess I'm weird. But I tell you what, there ain't no way in hell, man.
5 months later, McCann was back, this time facing State Police Detective Brian Fuller, part of a cold case team, asking again about his search for details of a night more than 3 years earlier.
Remember all the places we went.
Says he wonders if he's blending one night with another.
I thought we got gas, and that might have even been before I think we got gas. I'm not 100% sure now. I don't know if it was another night, or I think we were in the trailer park. I don't know if that rings a bell, or...
McCann says he didn't know he was a suspect until an officer read him his rights that night and asked to take a picture of his hands.
I remember looking at my hands, and that's right there, I knew, what the hell.
Police took his truck and his clothes that night, later his DNA. The detective assures him he's not the only suspect and that he is on McCann's side.
Be honest, completely honest with you. The police officer on duty that night is not ruled out. You with me?
Officer Walker?
Yeah.
I'm here to help you. You know, I want this as bad as you guys do. I want to know. I don't want to go to my grave not knowing what happened to this little girl. I don't want to. I'd like to have my job back, to be honest with you. I love being on the police department.
3 months later, McCann is back with the same detective.
I have to tell you about your rights.
Okay.
Okay? You
I'm not
understand?
going to jail, am I?
Because this is going downhill fast for you.
I don't understand why.
And the only thing that is going to help you is for you to be truthful. And I know, I've seen it myself. I know you haven't been.
The cold case detective tells McCann he knows he lied about being home most of the day Jodi was killed, that his alibi is shot, that they have him on surveillance video around town, that as a reserve police officer he owned 2 pairs of handcuffs, not just one as McCann insisted. They were 2 of the alleged lies that led to perjury charges. Evidence shows Jodi's wrist had been bound.
I'm not going to jail for somebody else's.
It's one of 86 times he denies any involvement during more than 7 hours of videotaped interrogations.
This is my life we're talking about. For the hell I've been through. My family. What to say? I didn't do anything wrong.
Then the detective plays his biggest bluffs.
We know scientifically that you touched her body. Did. And we know without a doubt that you put her in the cemetery.
Oh, God, Brian, no, I did not. No, I did not.
That doesn't make you the killer, Ray.
I know, but you know what? I did not put her there. If I touched her at all, it was when I was pulling the mother away. If I happened to touch her, then that's how it happened.
Later, in an interview that wasn't recorded, they asked McCann how they could have found his DNA on Jodi and her DNA on him and in his pickup. He says it could have happened when he hugged Jodi's mom and when the mom sat in his truck, which she said never happened. Police say that was another of McCann's lies that amounted to perjury. But police have since confirmed to Target 8 that they also weren't telling the truth. They didn't really have that DNA evidence. It was a trick, a perfectly legal lie.
This case has already been reviewed by the prosecutor's office, and the evidence about you is insurmountable.
I don't understand. You gotta promise me one thing. I don't know who did this, but if they hold me for whatever reasons for more questions, you don't give up looking. Promise me that.
Maybe the detective tells him he's covering for somebody else, or he accidentally killed Jodi, then panicked. They say they checked his computer, found he had been on porn sites that day.
They're gonna say that you killed her. Jesus. You killed her for sexual gratification. And they're gonna use the porn stuff. They're gonna... You know where they're gonna go with it. And I'm telling you that you could prevent that.
You know, I leave here, I'm gonna try to get some answers. Because this is bull, Brian.
You have to.
You know what? I don't know if you believe in God, I hope you do. But you know what? Someday we're all gonna stand in front of him, and you guys are gonna find out the truth. You know that? You guys are gonna find out the truth. And I did not put her there. You know, one day we'll stand in front of the Lord, and we'll all know. Yeah, and I guess hopefully me and you're standing by each other. And we'll say, Ryan, I told you.
After the break, the interrogation intensifies.
That's coming up in 2 minutes. And now for the final piece to our story. Police are after one of their own, Ray McCann, a reserve officer who has become the lead suspect in the murder of 11-year-old Jodi Perrick.
The interrogation intensifies. Here's more from Ken Colker.
They're looking to crucify somebody.
More than 3.5 years after Jodi was killed, State Police Detective Brian Fuller is joined by a new face from the state police who says Constantine needs answers.
I need you to do the best you can to remember, which I know you can, okay?
I'm just nervous. I've gone through this so many times.
McCann describes his day. That video game at home, maybe checking porn sites, later buying laser guns with his sons at the Dollar General. This, police say, is another of his big lies, that his sons say they didn't go to the store that day. McCann recalls his search and eventually turning left into the cemetery.
That's where I see everybody running around, screaming. I pull my truck up to a certain point, get out, run up there, and that's when I realized mother had her. That's when I realized she was dead. You could tell.
Knowing that we have the times on the phone calls and the movements, is that concerning to you at all?
About times? I don't know exact times. That's my problem. What time was what during that night? I didn't have nothing to do with this girl's death.
Listen, don't say that, because I don't want to hear it, okay?
Fine.
Trust me, I know different, okay?
The detective suggests a theory that McCann found her body in the cemetery earlier, which is why he kept telling people to go search there.
What we're saying is, you found her, but you were afraid because you didn't want them to think you put her there. And maybe, this is their thought, maybe Ray is living a double life. I mean, Ray says he's a Christian, Ray says he's this, that, a coach, whatever, but when mom leaves to work, Ray trolls the streets looking to pick someone up, gets on porn before he does it. Off, goes to a religious site, a couple of them to feel better, and he leaves the house.
They can paint their damn picture, whatever they want to do. I didn't have nothing to do with this damn thing. I went out there, did my job that night, supposedly. I guess I didn't do it to a T.
I believe you.
You know?
As a matter of fact,
this is the hell I'm going through.
That gets back.
The detective floats another theory. Jodi visited McCann's home, then flipped out because she wanted to date McCann's son, who did not want to date her.
You take control, you say, hey, settle down, relax, and something happens in that process. Even to the point where she almost is going to hurt herself and she gets handcuffs put on her because she's going crazy. Okay?
Okay.
What else is there, Ray?
I don't know, you tell me, but that's all bull.
Then another police bluff. Again, a perfectly legal police lie.
We have the full investigation. I told you, we just don't know the why, the little part in there, okay? We know we have a dead girl. We know that Ray's involved, okay? We've told you that.
So they're going to stick, what, me in jail for something I had no part of? Is that how the system works? Guys, I don't know what you want from me. You want a confession that I can't give you. But I didn't, guys. I didn't find her. I didn't put it there. Didn't kill her.
Sorry, guys. This upset, all right?
Last year, McCann was sent to prison for 20 months after pleading no contest to one of 5 perjury charges. Without the plea, he said, prosecutors were threatening years behind bars.
I took the plea because it was the quickest way to get home to my family. It wasn't that I was guilty of anything.
But last September, 3 months before McCann's release, came this bombshell. The arrest of Daniel Furlong in Jodi's murder, complete with real DNA evidence after he tried snatching another girl. Furlong had lived blocks from Jodi, but was never a suspect.
She said, will you let me go? And I said, I can't let you go, honey.
Furlong confessed to killing Jodi, dumping her body, and working alone.
Do you know Mr. McCann?
I don't know the one that they showed on TV.
You don't know him?
I don't know him. I know the grandfather.
You saw everything in the paper about what was going on with him. What did you think then?
I just thought I was in the clear.
A few weeks later, the new Constantine police chief visited McCann in prison.
You know, I was thinking, oh, good. You know, he's going to come in and apologize to me. They're going to get me out of prison, you know, tell me they got the right person. And
But according to audio of that meeting, that did not happen.
The person that we arrested is a friend of yours.
I don't know who he is.
The chief gave him one last chance to come clean about Jodi's death.
I'm serious, man. Don't let that window close. Don't let that happen. Whether it's Dan or whether it's somebody else, somebody's holding all the cards. And your picture's on the face of every one of those cards.
As we showed you, Stephen Drizzen, one of the attorneys in the Making of a Murderer series, says he's working with the Michigan Innocence Clinic to overturn Ray McCann's perjury conviction.
We invite you to join Ken Kolker and Stephen Drizzen right now at woodtv.com to talk about the case and Drizzen's experience on Making a Murderer.
We'll take you inside the investigation and answer questions about why McCann didn't have an attorney and why this situation could have happened to anyone. That's all at woodtv.com right now. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.